Well, would you believe it? Over the past 3 years, we've witnessed the development of the grandest car price bubble in history. But hold on tight, because now we're in for a real treat. The most colossal car price crash of our lifetime as predicted by the experts. It seems like a flood of vehicles is about to hit the market, just when consumer demand is taking a chill pill and cooling off. Those elevated prices we've been seeing, unsustainable. And I'm not just talking about new cars, used cars are in for a rough ride too. Brace yourselves, because the collapse has already kicked off. For a good 2.5 years, we've been witnessing these never-ending hikes in average prices for new and used cars. It's like the dealers were just having a field day with their markups, and to make matters worse, there were those semiconductor chip shortages that put a damper on production. But guess what? Things are different now. The chip shortage is finally easing up, and automakers are going all out, ramping up production to rake in those sweet profits and meet the demands of us car-hungry consumers. Now, I hate to break it to you, but we've probably hit the peak of prices already. But let me tell you, the fall we've seen so far is child's play compared to what's coming next. Brace yourselves, because wholesale prices all across the country are plummeting. The clever folks at Mannheim Consulting estimate a mind-boggling 9% drop in prices for new models and a whopping 26% nosedive for used cars. And you know what that means? Retail price will naturally follow suit and go down too. It's a basic cause and effect situation. And there's more. In April, for the first time in a whopping 20 months, the average price of a new car was actually lower than the sticker price. Can you believe it? Those crazy high prices we've been seeing, it turns out they're completely unsustainable. Between January 21 and January 23, used car prices shot up by a staggering 52%, while new cars enjoyed a nearly 28% rise. Meanwhile, the median household income in the good old US of A only saw a measly 13% increase. And here's the kicker, it's not even adjusted for inflation. When you take into account the average inflation of the past 2 years, we're left with a mere 7.1% increase in incomes. So yeah, things are a bit wonky to say the least. It turns out that the past couple of years, used car affordability has taken a nosedive of nearly 40%. And as for new cars, well, they're becoming a whopping 15% less affordable. And hold on, we're not even taking inflation into account. It's like buyers are getting priced out of the market left, right, and center. It's a real mess. And you know what happens in an environment like this? A crash is looming. The question is, when is going to hit? As usual, the analysts have been ringing the alarm bells, warning us that we're already seeing a significant correction unfolding before our very eyes. But guess what? They're also telling us that the collapse that lies ahead is going to be worse than anything we have ever seen. Yep, even worse than the auto market crisis in 2008. Not exactly reassuring news, is it? Sure, the easing of supply chain pressures might bring some relief to the supply situation, but here's the kicker. We're going from having no supply at all to a boatload of inventory. And you know what that means? It means that the values of many vehicles are plummeting faster than anyone could have anticipated. It's a race to the bottom. According to a recent report from UPS, global car production is set to exceed sales by a whopping 6% this year. That leaves us with a surplus of 5 million vehicles just sitting there waiting to be sold. And guess what it takes to move those babies off the car lots? Price cuts. Lots and lots of price cuts. The car companies are gearing up for a proper price war. Some of them have already started slashing prices, and it's getting real intense. The production schedules are going full steam ahead, but here's the catch. We're looking at a high risk of overproduction. And you know what happens when there's too much supply? Pricing pressure starts to mount. UBS, in one of their notes to clients, made it pretty clear. Now, the price war isn't just limited to any old cars. Oh no, it's making its presence felt in the EV space as well. And mark my words, it's going to spread like wildfire into the good old combustion engine segment by the second half of 2023. The big player making waves in this war is none other than Tesla. They've been slashing prices left, right, and center for their shiny new cars. Just take a look at the Model X, for example. It's lost a whopping $14,000, or a jaw-dropping 23% of its value since the beginning of the year. But wait, there's more. Tesla's used car prices are taking a hit too. Let's focus on the Model 3 for a moment, shall we? It seems to be taking the brunt of this downward trend. The average price of a used Model 3 has dropped by a hefty $11,775. That's a plunge from $51,251 to a cool $39,976. In 2022, the average price of a used Infiniti QX80 was a hefty $52,870 $75. Fast forward to a year later, and guess what? The price of this big Infiniti SUV on the used car market has taken a major hit. We're talking a nearly $12,000 drop, bringing the average down to around $41,094 in April. That's only a whopping 22.3% plunge. Now let's shift gears and talk about the Land Rover's mid-size Discovery SUV. Brace yourselves for this one. Used versions of the Discovery are currently rocking on average price of $40,841 as reported by those researchers. But guess what it was just 1 year ago? Hold on to your seats because a used Disco would have set you back an average of $50,973. That's a hefty drop of 19.9% so far. It's all about those plunging prices. Finally, the new Nissan Frontier is going through some changes too. Right now it's hitting at around $39,833, but experts are predicting it'll drop down to a cool $27,146 by the end of 2023. That's quite the decrease. According to researchers, that 3-year-old Toyota Camry you're eyeing, which is currently selling for around $27,404, is expected to plummet to a mere $16,548 by the end of the year. And it's not just the Camry. Popular used SUVs are also feeling the heat. Take the Jeep Compass for example. It's looking at a drop from $25,605 to $15,706. The Honda CR-V from $30,193 to $19,599. And the Toyota RAV4 from $32,000 to $20,534. Now, if you recently bought one of these used models, I hate to break it to you, but the outlook isn't looking too bright. The corrections we've seen up until now have been pretty remarkable, but here's the thing, folks. Used vehicle values have skyrocketed by a jaw-dropping 88% since 2020. So yeah, get ready for some brutal declines in car values in the coming months. But wait, there's more. When you drive that shiny new car out of the dealership, guess what happens? Yep, 10 to 20% of its value vanishes into thin air. It's like magic, but not the good kind. This means that losses can be even greater, adding to the worry and sending shockwaves through the auto market right now. Things are taking a turn in the equity market. The unjustified froth in prices is disappearing faster than a magician's rabbit, and that's not good news for investors and consumers. Prices are plummeting, leaving people with less money to spend. Now let's talk about disposable incomes. They were on the rise in 2020 and 2021 thanks to various factors like stimulus checks and improved unemployment benefits during the pandemic. But here's the catch. Many of those buyers who benefited from these programs are now defaulting on their auto loans. It's not looking pretty, my friends. According to Barron's, the US is facing a disastrous surge in repossessed vehicles. Auto dealers are seeing these repossessed vehicles being sent off to auction, and the buyer's loan to value ratio is off the charts. What's the LTV, you asked? Well, it's the loan amount compared to the actual value of the vehicle. And let me tell you, things are not adding up. We're talking about buyers defaulting on car loans worth $26,000 for vehicles that are only worth $20,000. That's an LTV of 130%. And that's a conservative estimate, folks. Barron's even cited one dealer who quoted ratios as high as 140%. It's like borrowers are disappearing into a financial black hole. So here's the bottom line. People are defaulting on their car loans and the situation is not looking great. It's a tough spot to be in and the repercussions are hitting the auto market hard. You won't believe what Wells Fargo had to say about auto loans. They reported a higher loss ratio, and if supply keeps rising and prices keep dropping, it's bad news for those who splurged on a brand new Land Rover. In just 5 years, the luxury ride will only hold a fraction of its value. It'll have depreciated like a normal car instead of retaining that inflated price at which it was purchased. In simple terms, a lot of people are about to lose a whole lot of money. But hold on, the government officials are trying to find a silver lining in this mess. They say the car market crash will help bring the inflation they created under control. They think it'll be a breath of fresh air for consumers. Well, that might be true.